So we've just challenged ourselves to make 1,200 video ads. Why? Because when Daddy Hermozi says make ads, you do exactly what he says. So we've all seen the advice to create 50 different hooks, 3 to 4 meat and potatoes, and then 1 to 2 CTAs. We've watched the tutorials, we've seen the outlines, but then when we actually go and sit down to do it, we find that it's quite technically challenging. There's a lot of steps involved and no one really fills in those gaps. And we end up just not doing it and just consuming more content and thinking that we're actually moving the needle. So if you're interested to know how you can actually do this yourself, we're going to talk about what's the purpose, how we're testing things, why people don't do it, and then also the technical reality of it and the tools and tricks that we're going to use to actually be able to try and get those 1,200 pieces of content in 12 hours. So boys, what I want to know is, why are you making me do this?
Why are you making all of us do this?
Why did we make you film repeat 50 times? All right, so static ads have been popping off for Clipflow. They've been going gangbusters. And we were like, we want to test video ads now, but we don't want to waste heaps of money. So the hook, the first couple of seconds, you could lose or get a conversion in that time. So I think one of the reasons this advice is online is because you don't know necessarily what a good hook is for your audience. The best way to test that is to do a lot of them. The problem with the testing of that is no one really talks about the implementation of that. How do you realistically go and get 50 hooks, 5 bodies, and the CTA all different and send them all out for testing? So that's what we're going to do. And we've challenged ourselves to make 1,200 ads in 12 hours. Zach, how are we going to do it?
Insert the I'm fine.
What's the editor thing? Like where it's like, I'm the creative director and I think we can get 1,200 ads in 12 minutes.
And it keeps getting shorter.
I'm the editor. I think you should all go get.
Look, boys, I can tell you one thing though. I do have RSI from turning the same direction 50 times. My back's feeling, getting
That was an optional part of it.
But tell us how you're going to actually do it, Zach. I watched you try and edit one of them.
Yes. Yeah, so look, we have a few options here. I think the way we're going to treat it is Ken shot 6, essentially they're shorts, right? There's not a lot of difference between a really good short and a really good ad, in my opinion. I guess we'll find out. So the idea is we've got the guys currently right now editing those shorts, and what we're going to do is swap out the hooks for all of those. And I think it actually turned out, given how much Ken did, we worked out we could technically do 4,800 ads, which is a lot, which is awesome. But I think what's cool is that actually it makes us realize we can reutilize and reuse things in a different way. And that really, it is focusing on the hook that makes it work. Can we do it in 12 hours? Maybe. There's some automation stuff I was messing around with today that could make that easier. I don't know anything about coding. What are you, Kieran? Content dev? I'm dev content. So I'm like the opposite with ChatGPT.
That makes it sound like you're dev first, actually.
Yes, good point. So I guess the big thing is, like, I'm realizing already why people don't do it. It's easy to watch all the guys be like, do the thing, like, do this much content, 300 each week. Immediately, as, I guess, head of content, I'm like, frick. Yeah, how do you actually execute on that and make sure it's still quality, but move quick on it? And I think we can get there. It's a fun challenge, that's for sure. But the technical reality of it, and we were just talking about it, is like naming conventions. Like, what do you call files? How do you keep track of which hook is on what body, which is what CTA? I will say, Ken, you pumped out so much in like 2 hours. I couldn't believe it.
It was the whole day. It was a bit. It was a bit longer. I mean, I did do a few hooks in 2 hours. Hooks are easy, but look, it's a couple of hours.
Yeah. So quick play-by-play of what we did, I guess, is we knew we wanted 50 hooks. We knew we wanted the center, like the core body of it, and we knew we wanted the CTA. We did a bit of ideation in the morning to try and come up with the 50 hooks and the bodies, etc. And then the plan was to send Ken to record all of these things in different locations. So recording everything 4 times, essentially. Record each hook 4 times in different locations. One of the reasons we want to do that is just to flip up the backgrounds to keep it interesting at the start. And then after that, it's download all the files, like put all the files up there, pass to the editors to trim it all up into clips or use some sort of automated service for that. Put it all together. So we need to be able to put the variations together. And Zach, you've talked about potentially using FFmpeg for this, which is programmatically joining all the variations together. And then technically also uploading them, putting them onto Meta. We have to figure out exactly how to do that. If you do want to find out how we did that, make sure you subscribe because there'll be a video about it soon. And then after that, there will obviously be testing and then improving and optimizing on the ones that work once we know what the message is. So all of the messages were as different as possible. The framework for the scripts was for everything to cover different pain points, different areas, just see what really hits the market. And we used the statics that were performing well to guide that about like what pain points would work. So we actually spent money on statics first to narrow things down, and now we're doing it on video, then we'll narrow that down.
Yep. And then from here, I think the cool thing is once we have a lot of data, we're then going to go to our little Brisbane trip, which is going to be sick, and go and try and make higher quality ones. So this is where you're introducing better captions, better text, better visual hooks, make them cooler, film them better, just make them better overall, and see if that improves again. But like once we find the highest performing, we're going to keep iterating on that. It's a very cool system. Like you got to give it to Daddy. He knows what he's talking about. He definitely does. Like do so much volume that like it's impossible to fail. And I think in the end of the day, that's all we have to do. And it's uncomfortable. And that's why no one does it. And then that's why not many people succeed. But if you do the work, I reckon it's going to actually work. I mean, it's happened with our statics, right? We've gone from very little to now our statics are bringing in 50 to 100 people a day for the same kind of money, just because we've been able to iterate and find better combos.
Yeah.
And you know the worst part is? It's all about time. It's how long you stay in the game. And that's really all that separates everyone. It's like who can stay alive the longest?
Yeah.
Because you get to collect the most data, become the best, and that's it.